All right, so it's been a little while since I reviewed a movie, and I know some of you were expecting a full review of the Oscar Best Picture nominees, but the movies were kind of depressing this year. I don't know. I did not feel it in my soul to go through all the reviews. I didn't even end up watching the Oscars this year. So as a result, I ended up taking a little bit of a break from movies in general. I went and saw Godzilla vs. Kong in the theaters, but I didn't watch any of the other Oscar nominees. So I decided to kind of just skip it this year, take a little break from dropping new episodes. But it is now June. We are firmly in summer movie season. And the original purpose of this show was that I go to a theater, I watch a movie, and I review it as I leave. And there's no better way to watch a movie than going with your friend, walking out, talking about it as you leave, just saying, oh, what did you think about this? Oh, what about this? And talking about how good or how bad it was, even discussing like what previews you saw that you're going to be excited about that's coming out, all of that. That's why I started this show. And shortly after I started this show, the pandemic started, and most of the episodes of this show have been me sitting on the couch reviewing stuff, which I think is a good adaptation. And I think it does a good job of showing what this show is capable of, but I got to get back to the theaters. So Godzilla vs. Kong, that was the first one. This will be the second one, watching A Quiet Place 2 with my friend Curtis. But all summer long, I am going to go to the movies. I'm going to go with friends. I'm going to go with people that you've heard before, with new voices. I'm just trying to get as many of my friends into the theaters, watching movies in the safest way possible. Of course, hopefully folks are vaccinated. We're going in and we're being as safe as we possibly can, but we're slowly venturing back out into the world. And for me, that means going and seeing as many movies as possible with my friends and colleagues, the way they were meant to be seen on the big screen. Occasionally, I'll still be reviewing things from the couch, but strap in and get ready to hear a bunch of episodes as I originally intended them to be. Me, Ronald Young Jr., leaving the theater. This is Ronald, and I am leaving the theater after seeing A Quiet Place Part 2, and I'm here with
your man Curtis Majors. What's up?
We are, once again, this is our second trip to the movies post-vaccine. First in a lot of trips to the movies this summer, we're hoping, if things continue to go well. But yeah, let's get into the movie. So, Quiet Place, written and directed by John Krasinski. It is only in theaters. They did not drop this on streaming. You got to go to the theaters to see it. Starring Emily Blunt, Cillian Murphy, Millicent Simmonds, Noah Jupe, Djimon Hounsou, John Krasinski, and Scott McNairy, among others, running and walking aliens, etc., etc., etc. So this is part 2. This one was delayed. It was supposed to come out, I believe, last March, April. It was one of the first big casualties of the coronavirus pandemic, and just now getting back to theaters, it seems like the fervor to see it was just still pretty high. I doubt it's going to have the numbers it would have had last year, but it came out during Memorial Day weekend. A lot of people are out and about. Vaccinations are up, so I imagine it's going to do well. Again, the premise of this movie is that there's an alien invasion in the first movie. There's this family, mother, daughter, and 3 kids who, father, mother, and 3 kids who are trying to survive this alien invasion. We'll just leave it at that for people who haven't seen the first one. Granted, we're going to talk about the second one, so there might be some spoilers. So if you have not seen the first one, I would encourage you to go watch that before looping back and listening to this episode. So at least watch the first one, then watch the second one, then listen to this. But at least watch the first one before you listen to this.
Order?
Yeah, no, but I'm saying, like, don't listen to this and then don't watch the first one because you're going to be like, wait, what? Because, like, there's a big thing that happens in the first one that's pretty significant. If you hear me out of breath, we are about to go to my old nemesis again, the stairs, and we'll see how this goes. What floor did you park on?
Second
floor. All right. You're a good friend. So, let me just start by saying a few things I like about the first one, which is that it's very efficient storytelling. They tell a very tight story. There's a setup, beginning, middle, and end. There's all the classic beats of a good story. You know, there's tension, there's drama. There's a lot of tension because it's a thriller, and they play a lot with the use of sound, being quiet, all of that. And I enjoyed all that in the first movie. What I noticed about this one was a couple things. And you know what? I'm just going to say it, because if you haven't seen the first one, you should be, just stop listening to this right now, because I got to say this in order to talk about the second one. So John Krasinski wrote and directed this movie. He also starred in the first movie and the second, and he's also starred in the first movie, but he dies at the end of the first movie. See? You should have stopped listening. You should have stopped listening. He dies at the end of the first movie. So I personally felt like cohesively the movies were great. It felt like it was this second movie matched the first movie in terms of look and feel, but I felt the vacuum of his acting in this movie. What do you think?
Absolutely. You could tell right away. Like, I know what you're saying. It's only can be quantified if you've seen it.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
It can't really be put into words,
yeah.
but there's something missing, and it's John Krasinski.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and I think they try to fill the hole with Cillian Murphy, and he does a great job. I'm not knocking him at all. I really enjoyed his performance, actually. Yeah. It was weird seeing him play a good guy, which is like, because he grows a beard and all of a sudden he's a good guy, which normally doesn't work. Normally it doesn't work in that way. But so it was good to see him. It was good to see that performance, but he's not John Krasinski. No. And maybe that's something to be said. I have a feeling that when I watch this the second time, I'm going to enjoy it more. Yeah. But I remember just sitting there thinking, man, I kind of miss John Krasinski.
No, for real. For real. I feel what you're saying, but if you separate the two, he did a great job on his own. But he's just a huge star that it's hard to fill that void if he's missing. Yeah,
agreed. Other than that, I will say that the only set drawbacks I would say to this film is in terms of beats and storytelling, it is very similar to the first film.
Yeah, it is. I think they played more with the sound in the first film, especially being in the Dolby. Like the first time I saw it in Dolby, that was just a different experience to take in because the sound played a lot of key role in that movie. And this one, I felt like it took a back seat. It wasn't at the forefront. Like it was nice, but it didn't have the tone deafness a lot that would go in and out of the scenes because of one character's deaf. Yeah. So they just didn't play it as well as the first one.
Yeah. I think they definitely I think what I think was happening was they know that we saw the first movie. They expected that we saw it. And so they didn't really spend as much time in that silence. There was a few good parts that they did with it. Like when she's looking for something on something at some point, when Millicent Simmonds, that's the character. I mean, that's not the character's name, but that's the name of the actor.
They did it very selective this time.
Exactly.
Yeah. They did it where you would think you would expect to see it. Yeah. Where other times in the first movie, I guess you weren't expecting it. Yeah. But this time, every time it went, with the silent, it was kind of expected.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know. I don't know if that's the novelty wearing off for us, maybe. Yeah. Because I'm like, if somebody saw this movie for the first time, I think they would still appreciate those portions. But it definitely seems like there was a few scenes, and that's when I think, again, with John Krasinski's acting, just the stuff he does with his face when he's looking at the fear and all that, he really nailed that. Those two things coupled, I feel like, felt very fresh in the movie, in the first movie. This one, it's not that they weren't fresh, it's just that, well, one, Krasinski wasn't there, and two, I think we were just used to the what they were doing with the sound in this one.
But like I said, compared to the opening of the first one, this second one, I think they were smart to put Krasinski in it because that's the only way you could top that first opening scene from the first one. Because that first one I think it took everyone's socks off when you saw the opening scene of the first one. Yeah. So there was no topping that one other than to bring his star power, which it worked. I really like the opening scene of this one.
Yeah, I thought it was great. I think they did a good job because we all know walking in there's a very tense scene. They basically take us all the way back to day one in the opening scene, which is, and if you're watching it, it's like it takes you on a journey and it feels good. You feel the tension rising, very small town-esque, all that, like that. And then you feel the fear as they don't know what's coming and they're figuring it out as they go. This is a movie series that is very much about figuring things out as they go. Like there's things that are revealed about the aliens over these seemingly invulnerable aliens over it from the first movie to the second movie that were like, oh, this happened. Oh, okay, that's a thing. And I think this movie does a very good job of figuring itself out. I think I liked it. I think I gave the first one 4 stars. I do not think I did give this one 4 stars. I think it's somewhere between, I'm still thinking it through, but it's somewhere between 3 and 3.5 stars for me. But it was still a good movie. It's like, and you closed out by saying like, this is why you come to the movies.
This is a movie you want to come back to the theaters for, like, especially if you see it in Dolby with the sound. Like I said, it's really intense. It's not as tense as the first one, but it still gets you. Yeah. Maybe I was just spoiled. Yeah, no, I think that's it too. And I think it's if it sounds like we don't like it, I think we both agree we both liked it. I loved it. Yeah, but I think what's happening here is like we saw the first one, and now I'm interested because I'm like, I know they'll do another one because this one's going to make money. And I know John Krasinski's like, if it ain't broke, like, let me just do it again. So I know they'll do another one. My question is, where do they go from here? And I think, and one thing I wrote was I said, expanding a universe is always tricky. So if you think about the first Purge, the first Matrix, any movie where you had a first thing and they set this premise that's really cool, expanding it, like, because that second Matrix, it flies off the rails a bit in some ways. But when you talk about expanding in a universe, even something like Transformers, the minute you start to expand a universe and say, okay, now there's other Transformers and all that, you could fly off the rails. And this one didn't, because it didn't expand it that much. My problem is, I think, and I don't want to critique something that hasn't happened yet, but I'm wondering, I'm like, how much farther are they going to expand this? I was like, we're in one area of like New York. Like, how much further? Are they going to go to the city? Like, where are y'all going with this? We'll see. I think we'll see, but I think they didn't expand it too, like you said, this much, so they could still very branch out small. And because, like you said, with Cillian Murphy's character, you can see now if they go to a different day, you can see what happened with his background and expand it from then and still loop it into what's going on with Emily Blunt and that family. Yeah. So I think they did a really good job in taking baby steps.
Yeah, I think so too. I think if, like, I mean, in this world, typically a trilogy is like, trilogies are the new sequels. I mean, this doesn't need 9. Like, probably stop at 3. I was definitely, when the movie ended, I was like, I'll watch another one. Yeah. I'll watch part 3 and see, like, how this ends, how they wrap this up. So I'm interested to see where that goes. And there's been a little time between when they filmed the first one and this one, so they could probably do a time jump if they wanted to, like, really wrap it up. But I don't want to see a movie where they're, like, going to the alien homeworld and figuring out. I don't want to see that.
That would be jumping the shark to go to that far from where they just ended this one. Yeah, because they didn't even go that far from the end of the first one to the end of the second one. So
this movie picks up right where the last one left off.
It does, and it doesn't go that much further.
No, it really doesn't. Because he said it was a 2 days journey at one point. So so maybe 2-3 days, maybe. So I liked it. I think I feel good settling around 3.5 stars. Really? Yeah. Okay. What'd you give it?
I think I give it a 4. Really? Yeah. I mean, because the high one, the high one, the first one, I gave it 5. Like, okay. Gotcha. So we're probably you can't top the first one, but this one wasn't bad. It was a great sequel. I give it a 4. Yeah,
I give it 3.5, and I think I would tell y'all to go see this. Oh, yeah, go ahead. Yeah, I would tell y'all to go see this 100%. Very good movie. Curtis had to take a phone call. But 3.5 star movie. Curtis gives it 4. But yeah, I think worth seeing. I think if you saw the first one, go ahead and see the second one. And I think if you're vaccinated, if you feel safe going out, put your mask on, make this a little outing. I think you'll have a good time. So, yeah, with that, I would say thank you to Curtis, but he's on the phone. But anyway, Leaving the Theater is a production of ohitsBigRon Studios. Theme music by the mysterious Breakmaster Cylinder. To find out more about this show and other ohitsBigRon Studios shows, you know what? I want to say one more thing. that I did not say, and that is that I like that this movie did a good job of setting up the women. For success. And I feel like this is a movie in which the men, it feels like a very good cooperation of the best things that men do, the best things that women do, without it making like it being damsels in distress or any of that. It allows the women to be like, to be strong and figure stuff out and be leaders and be vocal and all of those things that we know women are capable of. And in a lot of ways, it harnesses the men's strength to be of good use. You know what I mean? And I feel like there's several instances in which men are doing things where I'm like, yes, please throw yourself in front of that thing so she can figure this out. You know what I mean? So you can really play to each of the characters' strengths. So I really like that part. Like that part of the movie. Curtis is back from his phone call, but at this point we're about to end this episode. No, you good. Thanks so much for joining me.
Oh yeah, it was a great time. Anytime we come to the movies with my man, it's a great time.
Absolutely. All right, and with that, Leaving the Theater is a production of ohitsBigRon Studios. Theme music by the mysterious Breakmaster Cylinder. To find out more about this show and other ohitsBigRon Studios shows, follow me on Twitter and Instagram at ohitsBigRon. That's at ohitsBigRon. If you like this show, check out our sister show, Time Well Spent. Leaving the Theater will be back soon. Thanks for listening.